Tanjiro and Johnathan joestar swapped. That's going to be interesting because both are extremely kind characters that deal with demons or just evil entities. And both characters harness the power of the sun to deal with their evil. Tanjiro in the form of sun breathing, and Johnathan with Hamon. Now, Johnathan in Demon Slayer is going to be viewed like Guillaume. Could you just imagine this hulking man just walking up and, without even needing a Nichiren blade, just beating the crap out of any demon that he comes across? Now, Johnathan, at least from what I remember, was pretty much just a basic brawler. He was a very strong brawler, don't get me wrong, but in terms of skill, it wasn't really there, at least not from what I was remembering. He was skilled at using Hamon, but in terms of, like, fist fight, he was a good boxer, but I'm not sure if he was anything beyond that. Probably the most interesting fight that I would want to see between these two would be Johnathan joestar going up against Akaza. Because yes, Akaza is the more skilled the fighter between the two, but Johnathan is definitely the harder hitter. He definitely hits a lot harder than the likes of Akaza does. But with Akaza's compass needle, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because it makes Akaza hit harder and move faster the more his opponent's fighting spirit is flaring. Which, for a joestar in general, they have a lot of willpower. So I'm very interested to see how that would play out. Now, for Tanjiro and the likes of Part 1 JoJo's, a majority of characters are just going to be pretty easy to deal with. Because for this, let's assume this is end of series Tanjiro, where he has all of sun breathing control, all this. He's just full power as Tanjiro was in the series, without obviously the other thing. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to be using that version for right now. For a lot of the characters in Part 1, it's going to be easy. The average vampire, the average undead, it's going to be easy. Tanjiro is going to just cut them down like they're nothing. But for the likes of Dio, I am not sure. Because Dio is objectively the stronger of the two. And I'm not sure how Part 1 JoJo scales speed-wise, but he might even be faster than Tanjiro too. At least from what I think. But I'm not sure. Like, let's assume that sun breathing would have similar effects to Dio as Hamon does. Like, the slashes would have the ability to cause damage like the sun would. If he's using the full extent of sun breathing, I think he might be able to damage Dio, but I'm not sure if he'd be strong enough to be able to put him down. And especially nowhere near to the extent that Johnathan did. So, for Johnathan, it's going to be very, very interesting for a majority of the fights, because he's going to be way physically stronger than most of the enemies, but skill-wise, he's going to be going uphill for a few of them. And for Tanjiro, like 99% of Part 1 is going to be a cakewalk, but then I think he just gets hard stopped by Dio. But hey, what do you guys think? Do you disagree with my opinion? Do you think it would go any differently with these two swapped? Or do you completely agree with what I said?